Hi, Pastor Steve here. I want to thank you for listening today, and I want to encourage you because I know that God will truly bless you as you study His Word. So, hey, let's get started.
Hey, church family, thanks for tuning into this devotion. As we continue on walking through the Gospel of Mark chapter by chapter, let's remember that there is so much information packed into these chapters. We can't possibly cover everything in each chapter in the brief time that we have together today. So be sure to be reading and studying on your own as we go through this chapter. Today we are in chapter 10 of Mark's Gospel. This chapter is full of great information from Jesus, and I encourage you to read and to study the entire chapter. However, for our time together today, we are going to be focusing on verses 35 through 45. Let's read them together. Mark chapter 10, starting in verse 35, it says, "Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. 'Teacher,' they said, 'we want you to do for us whatever we ask.' 'What do you want me to do for you?' Jesus asked. They replied, 'Let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory.' 'You don't know what you're asking,' Jesus said. 'Can you drink the cup I drink, or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with?' 'We can,' they answered. Jesus said to them, 'You will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared.'" Verse 41, "When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Jesus called them together and said, 'You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentile lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be a slave to all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." This passage describes how the Christian community should look utterly different from the business as usual community. In verses 32 through 34, Jesus gives his most detailed prediction of his trial, of his suffering, his death, and his resurrection. He's about to enter Jerusalem and confront the Pharisees. James and John then request places of authority in seats at Jesus' right and left. These sons of Zebedee recognize the glorification that awaits Jesus. The authority he has exhibited in his ministry will lead to something big, perhaps a royal rule. And in typical human fashion, James and John want to capitalize upon their assumptions. Jesus goes on to tell them that he will suffer and only violence and death await him. But James and John affirm their willingness to endure suffering with Jesus. Now, later in Mark's gospel, Jesus explains to them that they will fail to endure the suffering that he will endure. But at this point, Jesus doesn't address their future failings, and instead Jesus moves on to address their desire for power and prestige. The other 10 disciples become indignant over the two brothers' attempt to outrank them in prominence. Jesus corrects them by talking about the Roman authorities and how the Roman authorities did things and how they all were negative examples. The Romans, they overpower and they tyrannize others. They rely on coercion and control to maintain dominance. In absolute contrast, greatness among the followers of Jesus is measured by their ability to live as servants and slaves, even if that means suffering oppression at the hands of those who wield the power. Jesus was making sure that we understand that if we want to become great by his standard, then we must be ready to become a servant for all. He reminds us that even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Now, in typical Jesus fashion, he takes whatever we would typically do and he turns it on its head. As humans, we strive to become the best, to succeed, to become the boss. Deep down, we like to be in charge, and we like to tell others what we want them to do. We like to be served and to have others wait hand and foot on us. And Jesus, he turns all of this on its head. He says that if you want to be great, you must become the servant. Philippians chapter 2 says that your attitude should be the same as that of Christ Jesus, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant. Today, I would encourage you to pray that God would show you ways in which you can become a servant to others. Friends, have a great week.
Thanks again for listening today. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like more information about our church, or if you just want to share what God's been doing in your life, drop us a line, give us a call. Again, may God bless you.